That's it. National issues we'll take up today. क्या सर? सार्क. हाँ. See, regional organizations. It could be SCO or BRICS. BRICS I think already has come. NDB and all has come. BRICS has not come. So they will ask only about organizations where India has some relevance, not something unconnected to India. So SCO में I already told you India join किया है. So it is because SCO का focus is on counter-terrorism. So that India का भी ऐसा ही है. So that convergence is there. And now all the countries realize that the terror comes from AFPAC region. So it is a platform which could put pressure on Pakistan to justify its stand and make. See, Pakistan is not going to bend, but we are going to write that. That is a position. So already they have a organizational mechanism to tackle terror called RATS, R-A-T-S, Rapid Action. May not be Rapid Action. Na? What's RATS? SCO ka RATS. I'll tell you. Already India has individual anti-terrorism squad scheme. There's a place in probably what did you say? Structure. Anti-terrorism structure, right. So India also having individual countries ke saath. So for example in Kyrgyzstan we run in a mountain, Pamir mountains mein we have a high altitude training. So both Indian troops and Kyrgyzstan troops are trained there, right. So we already have a field hospital in Uzbekistan, hardly 3-4 kilometers from Afghanistan border. So with individual countries we have got some mechanism. It's like spying areas in Afghanistan karne ke liye. Probably Kyrgyzstan shares also borders with China, so we might have set up some mechanism for that Xinjiang province. We don't know, but it is more of an organized way. This will help India collaborate with Central Asian countries. And secondly, as I told you, it's also first time India is getting into Central Asian security. It is an organization formed for Central Asian security. That means India getting into it, it enlarges India's scope, what is called as extended neighborhood. So this mechanism can also put pressure on Pakistan because these countries also are worried. Initially they were worried about Russian dominance. That is why they were enthusiastic about SCO, where they thought China will balance out Russia. Now they are selling almost, China is the biggest trading partner, right? China is buying all the oil and gas, and OROB they are joined. They don't want to leave out that, but they are worried that China will in future dominate them. So they want it balanced to be with India. So, but India doesn't have a border. So to balance that, they have to put pressure on Pakistan to allow India transit. So indirectly that could also benefit India. So India can utilize all this in a creative manner. It's all the future thing for the diplomacy ke liye kaisa karna, utilize karna hai. Right. To have a joint strategy with Russia, China and this thing Afghanistan, Central Asia on Afghanistan ka future peace. Put pressure on Pakistan to close down the terror because every country recognizes that this is an area from which global terror emanates. To cooperate on terrorism and learning the strategy also. Then to get connectivity to the energy resource rich Central Asia. All these are the benefits for India for joining SCO. Employment में informal sector में employment is very important. Employment is today's top news, Google News is Beti Bachao has become Beta Bachao. है ना? जे बेटा कौन है? जे अमित शाह. That's the top news in Google. I'm not saying Google. Google में आ रहा है. Okay. Right, so so unemployment is definitely a major issue. So here again in polity वगैरह में the more Supreme Court judgments, committee reports, law commission, those reports if you give, that will add a lot of value to your answer. Whereas in economy, again a lot of data. Economy is based on data. So देंगे अच्छा है. If you don't remember it, okay fine, you can talk at a general level. Yes, another problem is in giving data is we cannot remember everything. Sometimes if we give it wrongly, then it will be counterproductive. So if you don't remember last quarter growth rate, doesn't matter much, right? Don't give it wrong. I'll come back and discuss unemployment. Last May I'll remember that and do that. But now anything on IR, anything else you want, tell me quickly. Otherwise I'll move to national issues. कुछ नहीं, कुछ है तो बोलिए, no problem. Rohingya, very good question. Right, very good. So what is the stand we should take it on Rohingyas? Right. There's likely question. Supreme Court में the government has announced that so Rohingyas pose a security challenge to India.
Terrorism was more intensive than it was projected, and the whole.
See, you have to understand the background scenario. Based on that, see the reason why they are saying is recently there has been attack on Myanmar army posts and police stations around a month or so back by what you call within quote terrorists.
But they are saying that it's been there for a long time.
Correct. The issue is very simple. Yesterday, if you have seen that UN bodies are condemning Myanmar, they are not condemning Rakhine people. Global condemnation is on human rights organizations, UN, European countries, all of them are condemning Myanmar. Myanmar is supported by China and now by India.
Sir, in Myanmar, those informants have also said that Rakhine terrorists supported by some external.
That is what the point I am trying to say now. So I am coming. So you have to understand the background information of that. So this Rakhine or Arakan, both of them are same. British time per Arakan, now to Rakhine, same. So it's a province bordering south of India's Mizoram and also sharing borders with Bangladesh. It is not a Muslim. Myanmar is a Buddhist majority country. Rakhine province is also not Buddhist majority. 2/3 are Buddhists, only 1/3 are Muslims. So it is a province bordering Bangladesh. So there is a people who live there who also speak a dialect of Bengali, Bangla. So the constitution of Myanmar also got independence along with India from British time. So it constitution mentions 130 plus ethnic minorities. Majority people are Burmese. That's why it was called as Burma. Myanmar doesn't mean it belongs only to Burma. It is a more neutral word, Myanmar. England and US still call it as Burma, which is wrong because Burma means only the dominant community living in Irrawaddy basin. But Constitution mentions 130 specific minorities, ethnic minorities. Rakhines are not one of them. Right. Rakhines are stateless people. So according to Myanmar, they have migrated from Bangladesh, illegal migrants from Bangladesh during British time. So therefore they are not the people, original people living in that area. So therefore they are not given citizenship, and therefore citizenship, Bangladesh also does have not accepting them. But Rakhine say they are not migrants. They have been living there for all the time. Since even before British there, they have settled in that area. So they deny that they are illegal migrants came during British time. So that is the argument which goes on. But all these years they have been living as stateless citizens with no benefits at all. Obviously, आपको ration card, whatever equivalent of that, नौकरी कुछ भी नहीं मिलेगा if you don't do that. No पक्का land, this thing, records कुछ भी नहीं होगा उसको तो. So they are really persecuted people, you can say that. So it has always been like this. But it's very strategically important location, because now not only India's own Caladan project goes through that area, Rakhine state. China has also built a terminal for a gas pipeline is already built from Myanmar to that. That is also in Rakhine state, but that is on the coastal area, not on the area dominated by Rakhine Muslims. But still, any unrest could be affecting migrants. Naturally, will go to other places. So Bangladesh closes the border. It doesn't allow. It doesn't say them they are Bengali people. They don't want to accept them. So they are living in camps. Last some 5-6 years, this is a big issue because the Buddhists have started attacking the Rakhines. Right. This is one of the negative aspects of democracy. So that is where the whole world is now against Aung San Suu Kyi, because she has not said anything criticizing the violence against the Rakhines which have been unleashed by police, army, and including Buddhist monks. Buddhist monks have led the riot groups, lynch groups against the Rakhine Muslims. So they are living in pitiable condition in refugee camps, etc. The whole condemnation is Myanmar government indirectly supports the same thing what Sudan government is accused of in Darfur. Indirectly supporting the ethnic cleansing, genocide of these people. And Aung San Suu Kyi has not said anything. Military is also doing, people are also, the Buddhists living there also doing it. And the widespread condemnation is, they don't even allow refugee agencies to go there, Myanmar government, because then the whole world will know the atrocities which are going on. They are not allowed the refugees agencies also, UN bodies to provide them food and all those things, etc., shelter, etc. So that is why the condemnation comes there. So the Muslim countries have been condemning it. Last 2-3 years they are undertaking risky voyages in country-made boats to Malaysia, Indonesia to escape from the persecution. They also come to Bangladesh to the sea route because the land route is closed, around 200 kilometers of border. They have Myanmar and Bangladesh, that is closed by Bangladesh army. They are rangers, whatever they call, equivalent to BSF. So they come through the risky sea route. That's why they are settled in an island now also in Bangladesh. Right. So Bangladesh doesn't want to accept. So around through the Bangladeshi route or through the porous jungles in the border, some 40,000 to 50,000 have come to India. Right. Now the issue is India is not a party to conventions, global conventions on refugees. India also does not have officially any refugee policy or asylum policy. Right. It is always done ad hoc. Right. So Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia want to give them some aid and all, which is also not allowed by Myanmar government. So over a period of time, some youth have become radicalized because of the continuous pressure by the armed forces of Myanmar. So naturally, if you keep on pushing even a weak person, he will at some point of time react, because he is getting killed. Anyway he is being killed. Let me fight and kill 2 of them and then let them kill me. This is what the attitude people will come. So the fear is, that is a problem in India also. Social issues are there. When all these atrocities against in India also against minorities go on, there is a very fertile ground for recruitment by IS and Al-Qaeda. They are just waiting for the opportunity to happen. I'm talking real politics only, right? Both IS and Al-Qaeda have branches in Indian subcontinent, and both have said in videos not addressed by topmost leaders, but by the both of them are commanders for South Asia, or rather subcontinent. They said India is our enemy. Both IS and Al-Qaeda have said. Right. Since India follows tolerance, diversity, respect for human rights, constitutionally given guarantees, not many people have joined Al-Qaeda or IS. Very less. Compared to say some countries like Maldives, 300, 400 of them are in Syria fighting with along with IS. India may hardly 100 have gone. But how long this will be there? Then there's a continuous pressure when you keep on beating, love jihad. Some people will become radicalized, na? Anyway, you are going to beating me and going to kill me, you are going to lynch me. And why don't I join them and give some military training and kill some of you before you kill me? This is an attitude to come. That is what exactly the same thing has happened in Myanmar. And it suits the other fundamentalists also, because you can portray them. When they respond, you can call them terrorists. Right? For example, still now no action has been taken. We have hanged also, Yaqub Memon. Why Bombay blast occurred? Why Bombay bomb blast occurred? 93 bomb blast occurred. Because the previous year there was riot. Not even a single person has been convicted so far. Justice Sri Rakshana Commission, which has been set up, specifically names Bal Thackeray and many of the Shiv Sena members who are personally leading the riots against Muslims. Why we have not taken, not arrested, why we have not convicted them? Therefore they responded by making bomb blasts. I am not saying that is right. This is a reaction. One thing leads to another. You can start saying who started it. It is not immaterial there. It is ultimately common man good gets killed. There are terrorists on all sides. Just because state, military, police does the terrorism, it is not, it has to be called terrorism only. What Israel does in occupied areas in Palestine is terrorism. Right? That's what European Union now says. So anyway, let us not get into unnecessary into all these arguments. No requirement. We speak from whether India is doing right or wrong. That is the only thing what we need to do. So Rohingyas are stateless people, have been persecuted basically on the basis of religion and language. So India does not has not a signatory to the global agreements or conventions, not agreements, conventions. India also does not have a domestic policy per se, but traditionally India has been following a liberal policy. So we can give examples of Jews who have been persecuted throughout the world but never persecuted in India, Parsis, Tibetan Buddhists, and more recently Sri Lankan Tamils. So India still hosts a lot of Afghanistan people also, even in Delhi they are there. So India has always been traditionally like that. We have an open border with Nepal and Bhutan. Millions of Nepalis stay in India and work and send back their remittances. We are not treating them as illegal people or something like that. So that is the liberal approach of India. Right? More than 1 lakh Sri Lankan citizens or Tamilian citizens are still living in India. Lakhs of Tibetan Buddhists, including Dalai Lama, are living in India. We consider Dalai Lama as an honored guest. China calls Dalai Lama as a terrorist. Please remember that. Right? That is why I told you one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. So there is no unified definition of that. He calls it a splittist. He tries to split Tibet from motherland. That's what China says. We may not agree with what that. So the issue is 40,000, 50,000 people. Simultaneously what has happened? India has announced that India will be giving citizenship to Hajongs and Chakmas. Chakmas, both of them are from the Chittagong hill tracts in Bangladesh. During East Pakistan time itself, they came to India due to religious persecution. Chakmas are Buddhists, Hajongs are Hindus. All of them are tribals living in near above the Chittagong hill tracts. So they are settled mostly in Arunachal Pradesh. Chakmas, because Arunachal was, because otherwise northeast is mostly Christian. Arunachal is Buddhist, so they were settled there, but there is a local opposition. All the locals are opposition because Arunachal is a very small state. They say that now the population of Chakmas is very higher, so it will completely change the demographic profile and completely the political spectrum. So it's a local opposition, but the government has announced that they are going to give to them. So now the question arises, why we are following two separate policies with two different group of people. Both of them have been facing persecution. Right? Big question mark over it. Why? Is it a symbol of Indian growing intolerance in India, or things are decided on the basis of religion, which India has never done? If that is the case, we should not have allowed Jews or Parsis. So the security issue is what being taught. That is actually very last year only we decided to amend, the cabinet approved a proposal to amend the Citizenship Act 1955 to fast track the citizenship process for people from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. Only 3 countries, religious minorities. So it doesn't include Shias or Ahmadiyas also. Only Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs who have come from these countries may. So now it is opposed even in Assam. Within India this is opposed by Assam. The Assam issue is about Assamese becoming minority because of Bengali migration. So they don't distinguish between Bengali Hindu who dominate Barak Valley or Bengali Muslims who dominate Lower Assam. For them, Assamese, both of them are illegal migrants coming from Bangladesh and they cannot be given citizenship. But the government distinguishes between Bengali Hindus and Bengali Muslims. So it's a big question mark whether India is an example of growing intolerance. For example, security issue we are saying. At the height of the ethnic war, 1 lakh Sri Lankan Tamils came to India. Most of them are LTTE supporters. And LTTE was a banned organization, is still a banned organization in India. And but India has not identified any of them and sent them back. Even after the civil war has ended, we have not sent them forcibly back. Now they can go back. There is no war.